Hello there, and welcome back to a new episode of another Happy Landing podcast. I'm your host, Whitney. Today on episode 3, I'm very excited to talk about my 10 favorite moments and scenes with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it was hard for me to narrow this list down because Obi-Wan has wonderful moments throughout the movies and series. These 10 moments are the ones that I find myself watching over and over again. I'm going to start with my number 1, and at my number 1 is the Duel of Fates. It's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes of all time. And one of the biggest reasons why I love this scene is the choreography, the fight scenes with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, how they move incredibly fast. Also, how every move feels so precise. I could watch this fight over and over again. Then you have the John Williams wonderful score in the background. The Duel of Fates track adds so much emotion and intensity to the scene. This scene is really important to me because it's a scene that made me become a Star Wars fan, and one of the scenes that made me fall in love with Obi-Wan as a character. Also, I think it's one of the greatest lightsaber duels in Star Wars. At my number 2 is the Obi-Wan versus Vader fight in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series finale. I think this duel is so amazing. This duel and the Duel of Fates are my favorite fighting sequences in Star Wars. One of my favorite moments in this fighting sequence is when Obi-Wan is lifting the rocks. I just love it because it shows that he's found his confidence and his connection to the Force again. And in this moment, every time I watch this scene, it just always makes me feel empowered. And just plus, I just think he looks so sexy in that scene. The ending of this duel is what really makes it one of my favorite Obi-Wan moments. After Obi-Wan damages Vader's helmet, he sees a part of Anakin's face. Obi-Wan says, "I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it," and he starts to cry. This moment gets me every single time. Ewan McGregor's performance is wonderful because you can hear the sadness in his voice. You also see how heartbroken Obi-Wan is. It's one of my favorite moments because it shows his strength, compassion, and why he'll always be my favorite Jedi. Coming in at my number 3 favorite moment with Obi-Wan, I have the "Hello There" scene from Revenge of the Sith. It's one of the most famous scenes in all of Star Wars. Also, it's Obi-Wan's most famous line. What I love about this scene, it shows how calm and brave he is when he jumps down right in front of General Grievous. He's surrounded by battle droids. He's not nervous or scared. He just smiles and says hello there. I also love how it shows how funny he is. Every time I watch that scene, it always makes me smile. At my number 4, I have the hallway fight scene in the Kenobi series. After Obi-Wan rescues Leia from the Inquisitors in their fortress, Obi-Wan is fighting the stormtroopers and probe droids. I love this scene because it shows Obi-Wan slowly getting his confidence back and we start seeing the Jedi Master that we all know after everything he's been through. Also, it's just so satisfying to see Obi-Wan take down all the stormtroopers. I also wanted to add Natalie Holtz, the composer to the Kenobi series. She just does such a good job with this scene, and also just with the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight scene, and just with the whole series. I just think that whole score was really good. Going in at my number 5 is Obi-Wan saying goodbye to Leia in the Kenobi series finale. One of my favorite parts about the show was Leia and Obi-Wan's friendship and by the end you can really see how much they care about each other. What makes this scene so wonderful is just when Obi-Wan tells Leia the qualities that she has from her mother and father. That she is wise and discerning and kind-hearted, like Padme, and passionate, fearless, and forthright, like Anakin. It's such a beautiful way to describe who Leia is. Also, I love the hug between Obi-Wan and Leia. It's a simple moment, but it feels so genuine. After everything they survived together, it feels like the perfect way to say goodbye. Plus, it makes the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" scene more emotional. Also wanted to add, just hearing Leia's theme in the background, it makes me so emotional and makes me cry all the time when I watch that scene. Another reason why I love this scene is Ewan McGregor's performance. Obi-Wan was carrying so much pain and guilt, but by the end of this moment, you finally see hope return. Watching him smile again is also just incredibly rewarding. At my number 6, I think this scene is I think this specific scene is very underrated in Revenge of the Sith, and also I think it's a very underrated lightsaber duel. It's the Obi-Wan versus General Grievous fight. I love the dialogue between Obi-Wan and Grievous, especially when Grievous says, "Army or not, you must realize you are doomed." Then it shows a close-up of Obi-Wan's eyes, which I love, and he says, "Oh, I don't think so." I think that's so epic. The fighting is so good when Grievous jumps on his wheel bike and Obi-Wan is chasing him down. My favorite moment in that sequence is when Obi-Wan uses blaster to defeat Grievous. He says, like, one of my favorite lines, "So uncivilized." I love that line so much that I got it tattooed on my hand. At my number 7 favorite moment with Obi-Wan is the "oh no, I'm not brave enough for politics" scene in Revenge of the Sith. One thing I love about this scene, it perfectly captures Obi-Wan's personality. Even though I think he's the greatest Jedi, he doesn't want to get involved in political debates. He much rather be helping people, negotiating peace, or protecting others. He uses humor to lighten the conversation. What also makes this scene stand out for me is it gives us a break before the story becomes darker. Revenge of the Sith is full of heartbreaking moments, but scenes like this remind us why Obi-Wan is such a lovable character. His quick wit and calm personality shine through. At my number 8, I have the Mustafar battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin. I just want to start off by saying I think this lightsaber duel is like the most important duel in all of Star Wars. From the beginning, before they start the duel, the confrontation dialogue, "I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire." And then Obi-Wan says, "Your new empire." I think that whole speech is the most quotable Star Wars line from fans. From there, everything builds into an unforgettable duel. The choreography is amazing. The setting with the lava planet. The setting in the background, the lava planet of Mustafar. Also, the music by John Williams is breathtaking. But what really makes this battle so memorable is near the end when Obi-Wan defeats Anakin and just Obi-Wan says, "You were the chosen one." I always cry and I always feel so heartbroken for Obi-Wan. Not only the Battle of Mustafar is an incredible duel, but importantly, it's the tragic ending of Obi-Wan and Anakin's friendship. At number 9, I think this moment with Obi-Wan is very underrated in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's the Obi-Wan's conversation with Reva in part 5. On the planet Jabim, Obi-Wan is stalling from the Empire by talking to Reva through a locked bunker door. He finds out that Reva was a youngling that survived Order 66. What really stands out for me in this scene is when Reva says, "Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you save us?" You can see the pain in Obi-Wan's eyes and the heartbreak. Ewan McGregor's performance in this scene is so good. He conveys so much emotion through his facial expressions and body language. I think it's one of Ewan's best moments in the series. What I also love about this scene is just how Obi-Wan quickly understands her. Instead of seeing an inquisitor, he sees someone who has been carrying so much pain and anger for years. Even after everything Reva has done to Obi-Wan, still treats her with compassion. That says so much about who he is as a Jedi. I also wanted to add and say how much I love the Reva character from the show. I just think Moses Ingram just did a really good job, and I really love her story, and I hope we do get to see that character return in some project in the future. My final pick is a scene from Attack of the Clones. The scene is with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme when they're on Geonosis in the transport ship, the Republic gunship, and Padme falls out of the ship. When Padme falls out of the ship, Anakin freaks out and he says, "Put the ship down. We have to go back." And then Obi-Wan says, "Don't let your personal feelings get in the way." I really love that line that Obi-Wan says. The way that Ewan McGregor delivers that line is really great. The tension between Obi-Wan and Anakin in that moment, it's one of my favorite scenes with Obi-Wan and Anakin in general. I think it's an important part because Obi-Wan is starting to see Anakin is slipping from what the Jedi Code is. And every time I watch Attack of the Clones, I watch this scene many times. That is my top 10 favorite moments with Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's definitely some honorable mentions I wanted to say, like the Obi-Wan versus Jango fighting sequence. That's such a great scene. I love Obi-Wan first meeting Anakin in The Phantom Menace. I also love when Obi-Wan first meets Jar Jar Binks. And there's also just so many wonderful moments with Alec Guinness in A New Hope. And of course in Rebels with Obi-Wan when he finally defeats Darth Maul. And of course another happy landing scene is always great. I wanted to say thank you for listening to this episode. Obi-Wan means so much to me, and he's my comfort character, and also just Ewan McGregor's portrayal of the character is why I love Star Wars, and Obi-Wan has so many wonderful moments, and I would love to know what your favorite moments with him are. On the next episode, I'm going to be talking about my favorite women in Star Wars. I just wanted to say thank you again for listening. I love talking about Obi-Wan, and may the Force be with you.